So, good afternoon. My name's Peter Dawson. I'm the legal counsel for the Carpenters Union in Atlantic Canada. And my old man's the president of Local 1386, and we're happy to have Melissa Young and Pierre Poilievre here today. I'm going to read you a letter that my father prepared for this event. He says, the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, Local 1386, representing carpenters, millwrights, and allied workers across New Brunswick, are proud that Pierre Poilievre is here today. Melissa Young is a long-standing member and the pride of Local 1386. So Melissa started working for the Carpenters Union straight out of college, and she's in our union administrative ranks. But make no mistake, she can still swing a hammer. Over her tenure with the Carpenters, she oversaw the training of hundreds of members, and then she later worked for the apprenticeship branch of the post-secondary education training and labor with the provincial government, where she harmonized the apprenticeship across Atlantic Canada on behalf of the Council of Atlantic Premiers. Melissa then moved to lead the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and would later meet the Ontario Progressive Conservative Labour Minister, Monty McNaughton. Monty was first the Conservative politician in Canada to build an alliance with the private sector unions, a transformational leader with the catalyst to change inside the Canadian Conservative movement. On the advice of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Monty appointed Melissa Young as the inaugural Chief of Skilled Trades Ontario. Melissa traveled back and forth from Ontario to here. She's from here, she's from St. John, she's one of us. She worked tirelessly with the Ontario Labour Minister, David Pincietti, who has emerged as the greatest champion for workers in Canada that we've ever seen. She returned to St. John to help campaign with Pierre Poilievre and help him get elected. Pierre Poilievre chose Melissa Young for this St. John riding. He chose the pride of Local 1386. Pierre chose the champion of skilled workers across New Brunswick. And Pierre chose to put workers first for a change here in Canada. Both these people behind me, they understand that the union members work very hard every day, paying their taxes, building our communities, and raising our families. Yet our standard of living is falling under the past 10 years of the Liberal government, and we all know it. Housing prices have doubled, creating a fundamental injustice where the carpenters can no longer afford to live in the houses that they built. I want to reread what my father just said, my old man just said. Carpenters who build houses in this country can no longer afford to live in the houses that they build. It's not right. Since day one of Pierre Poilievre's leadership campaign for the Conservative Party of Canada, he has been a tireless advocate to reverse the injustice, and Melissa now joins his team. Pierre has worked hard to learn about the concerns and issues faced by workers and countless visits to the union halls. This isn't the first time this man's been here. It's not the first time I've met him or the unions have met him. Through careful listening and thoughtful action, Pierre has transformed the Conservative Party in Canada to a force committed to effecting a positive change for workers. This is not your father's Conservative Party. Pierre announced last year in September that he would not introduce any anti-union legislation if he becomes Prime Minister. Pierre's pro-worker agenda includes some of the following that all of us here know about, but some Canadians may not. He's going to expand the federal union training and innovation program. That's what we call UTIP. It's going to help us build this building, expand it, and make us get more members working in the trade. He's going to reinstate and double the federal apprenticeship grants. And that means that we can have more tradespeople building more houses, reduce the cost of housing. He's going to create a rapid system for EI payout. As everyone here in this room knows, if you go on EI because you don't have work, it can sometimes take months to get a paycheck. And he's going to try and fix that for us. He's going to harmonize the training certificates across provinces. Right now, everyone knows here, if you want to go work in Newfoundland, Alberta, even if you have fall protection, you got to get recertified every time you go to a new province. It makes no sense, and he's going to try and fix that for us. He's going to try and increase tax write-offs for traveling trades workers. This means anytime someone goes to Alberta, they can only claim so much travel pay under the current CRA standards. He's going to try and fix that for us well. Our mission as the Local 1386, the Carpenters Union, is to stand strong for our membership and ensure that we get skilled workers out to contractors that can work safe. There's no question that Pierre and Melissa are on side and going to help us with this mission. Local 1386 has boots on the ground in every town in New Brunswick. And we're going to work hard to get Melissa elected here in St. John, Kennebecasis. Melissa Young is one of us from the trade union movement. She's had our back, and we're going to have hers come April 28th. So now I'm going to turn it over to the main event. I think you guys all came to see someone else, not me necessarily. So I'll turn it over, and please welcome the leader of the Conservative Party, who will put workers of Local 1386 first for a change, Pierre Poilievre.
Thank you very much to the Carpenters. Who's ready to get building? Who's ready to axe the tax? Who's ready for a pipeline to St. John? Who wants to keep 15% more of your paycheck with a nice income tax cut? Who wants to keep your hunting rifle? And who wants to put Canada first for a change? Wow. Thank you very much to Local 1386, the people who literally build this province and are part of a national movement of workers who literally build this country. My mission is to make Canada work for the people who do the work. You are those people. But as you've just heard, after the lost Liberal decade, the people who build our homes cannot even afford to live in them. Housing costs have literally doubled, going up faster in Canada than in any other G7 country. As Liberal taxes and bureaucracy block builders, now in some jurisdictions in Canada, 60% of the cost of a new home goes to taxes and bureaucracy. In other words, more money for a new home today in Canada goes to bureaucrats in offices than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the homes. And to add insult to injury, those same carpenters can't afford to buy the home. Furthermore, our paychecks are blocked because Liberals have killed resource projects, including Energy East, which would have gone right over here to the refinery, which you can see. You can hit a golf ball and hit it. Imagine the thousands of refinery workers that would be employed there, then spending money in our local economy that would result in you building more stuff. Imagine the billions of dollars, and none of it would have relied on the Americans. Because, of course, this was a project designed to get our energy overseas, going east rather than going south. But that, of course, was killed by the Liberals as well. And They attack working class people. They want to ban your hunting rifle, ban your pickup truck, tax your energy, and block you from building things. But the good news is that Canadians have a choice. They don't, after the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime and an economy falling under the thumb of the Americans, they don't have to vote for a fourth Liberal term. Instead, they can vote for a new Conservative government that will put Canada first for a change. Pete and the family have been so good to us in supporting the workers here on the ground. Debbie Romero, I don't know if she's here. Is Debbie here? She's not here. Her son's here. Okay, where is he?
And her sister.
Okay, there they are. Thank you very much. Good to have you guys out. Pete and Jimmy and the entire team have worked so hard to fight for all of you, fight for good wages, to grieve when your employers treat you wrong, or to give the best training in the world that will launch our future tradespeople into incredible jobs. And I want to build on that success. And that's why we have here the future Member of Parliament for St. John, Melissa Young. Give it up for Melissa. Melissa's going to help me with my plan. I call it Boots, Not Suits. You heard this incredible plan? What we're going to do is restore the $4,000 apprenticeship grant to help our young people with the cost of working through an apprenticeship. We're also going to massively expand the UTIP program, making it 10 times bigger than it is right now. This will sponsor 350,000 training positions for young apprentices and others who are working to learn the trades. This work will happen and this training will happen in halls just like this one, where young people will be able to come out and learn the craft from the people who know it best. And that will propel them into powerful paychecks, incredible jobs. They will bring home these paychecks paying lower taxes. Nous allons supporter des bottes et non pas des cravates, en supportant des syndicats pour former 350 000 jeunes apprentis et en redonnant le 4 000 $ de bourse pour chaque apprenti à travers le Canada pour qu'on puisse avoir des plus grands chèques de paie et renforcer notre économie face à Donald Trump. On top of that, we're going to back up our apprentices and our tradespeople with the freedom to move and work around the country. Right now, it's very hard for people to move from one province to the other for a short-term position because you then have to redo the entire health and safety. Even though you've done the course already in New Brunswick, you go to Fort Mac, you might have to blow the first 4 days unpaid taking a health and safety program that you've already taken in a different province. So Melissa has agreed to an assignment that I've given her, which is to go and get all the provincial regulators lined up to one simple harmonized system. So once you have your health and safety in New Brunswick, you have it for the whole country. You can move around and get to work without delay. We're going to create a special apprenticeship class for an EI payout, so it's faster. You don't have to sit around waiting without an income, wondering how you're going to put food on the table or getting a loan to pay your bills. You'll be immediately supplied with your payment so that you can pay your bills while you're getting trained up for an even better job. And we're going to bring tax fairness. Right now, a CEO can write off the full cost of his private jet, but a tradesman can only write off $4 grand to travel around the country. Some of you do 20, 30 trips a year, and that can cost tens and tens of thousands of dollars. The principle of our income tax system is supposed to be that you get to write off the cost you incurred to earn the income. It's not really income if you have to spend money, if you're spending it just to get the income in your pocket. Businesses write off what it costs them to make stuff, but you only get $4,000. That's why I've announced that I will be passing the Tax Fairness for Traveling Trades Workers Act, which will let you write off the full cost of food, transportation, and accommodation necessary to travel across the country. It's going to be part of what I call a big bring-it-home tax cut on work, investment, energy, and home building. We will lower income tax by 15% so that you bring home more of each dollar you earn and hard work pays off. We will take the federal sales tax off new homes and incentivize municipalities to speed up permits, free up land, and cut development taxes to build 15% more homes every single year. Homes you will build and homes you will afford to live in. We will. We will get rid of the carbon tax, and I mean the entire carbon tax. The Liberals are going to pull a fast one on you, very sneaky. They brought in this carbon tax. They raised it over 7 years. They have a law that's still in place that will allow them to raise it further. But what they're going to do is hide it from the gas pumps for 30 days leading up to the election in expectation that you're going to be grateful to them, that you're going to be fooled into thinking they no longer support a tax that they said was necessary to save the planet against burning. Right? They think that you don't put out fires with taxes, you put it out with water. But I guess they missed that day in science class. But not only that, but Mr. Carney says he wants to raise the industrial carbon tax, which would target, for example, the refinery right over here. How is the refinery going to stay open when its competitors in the States have zero carbon tax, and in Canada, the company is paying $1 billion a year to the federal government? It'll mean that jobs and income leave our country for the United States, making us even more dependent on Donald Trump. Both Trump and Carney want to tax Canadian industry. Trump with tariffs, Carney with carbon taxes. I want neither. I will axe the carbon tax for everyone, for everything, for good, for real, for a change. And while $500 billion investment dollars have left our country for the United States during the lost Liberal decade of rising taxes and blocked projects, and while Mark Carney stashes his company cash away in Bermuda so that he doesn't have to pay taxes here, the taxes he forces on you, we want to bring the investment dollars home. And so I have announced that under a Canada First Conservative government, there will be no capital gains tax if you reinvest the money here in Canada. So, Carpenters, for example, if you build up a house, you sell it off, or you buy a house, do some renovations to improve it and resell it, you'll be paying no capital gains tax as long as, one condition, you take the proceeds of sale and you invest it in Canada, maybe building yet another house. So you can't send it to the States, you can't send it to Bermuda. If you do that, you pay a tax. But if you bring it back home to Canada, you'll pay no tax, and you can keep rolling over and rebuilding your investment. One day, when you decide to retire and you divest for good, at that point, the tax will be paid. The government will get its pound of salt. In fact, with all the growth that happens in the interim period, there'll be more money to tax. But that'll mean more wealth, more jobs, more money back in this country. It's time to put our economy first. That means passing a bring-it-home energy plan as well. So today I announced that I will support and bring into place a national energy corridor. It'll be a pre-approved corridor from east to west that has all the permitting in place with clear standards and specifications so that business knows exactly what it has to do to build pipelines, transmission lines, rail lines, bridges, and roads from east to west. That will allow us to move our great Canadian energy from the western Canadian provinces to eastern Canadian. Of course, it's going to be St. John, because St. John is the energy refining hub of the country. We're going to have what I call shovel-ready zones, pre-permitted areas where it's all, the businesses don't even have to apply for a permit. The rules and the territory is already written out, published online, and legally binding, so we can get building things in this country again. We want to bring home production and paychecks to our people. We want to put our country back in charge of its destiny. We've got to stop depending on the Americans. Right now, we're in frankly a pathetic position after the last Liberal decade, where Trump knows that he has 75% of our exports, 100% of our gas, 90% of our oil. That has to stop. We're no longer going to bend our knee to the Americans. We're going to rebuild our country. We're going to bring home our jobs, and we're going to stand on our own 2 feet so we can stand up to anyone that gets in our way. We will rebuild our military and a military that will be rearmed, rebuilt, resupplied, and recruiting the best members in the world. They will be driven by a warrior culture, not a woke culture. Yeah. We will trade with each other, build things for ourselves, build homes for our youth. We will be a sovereign and united nation right across the country, dedicated to Canada's promise. A very simple promise that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful house, on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag. That is the Canadian promise. That's what it means to put Canada first for a change. Let's bring it home. Thank you very much, Carpenters.
Hi. Mark Carney is keeping Paul Chang as a candidate, called this incident a teachable moment. What is your reaction? Have you spoken to Joe Tay, and how's he feeling?
Well, it is a teachable moment. It teaches us that Mark Carney will never stand up for Canada. He is keeping on a Liberal candidate who said that people should turn over the Conservative candidate to a bounty by the Chinese government, which wants to kill him. The Chinese government wants to literally kill Joe Tay because he's a political dissident. And this candidate said that that should happen. Mark Carney keeps that candidate on his roster to be in Parliament. It shows that Carney is more interested in pleasing Beijing because they lent him $250 million for his company. He is compromised. I have never in my life seen a Prime Minister unwilling to protect a Canadian citizen against a foreign government that wants to take his life through a bounty. If Mark Carney won't stand up for a Canadian against this foreign hostile regime now, how could we ever expect him to stand up for Canada after the election? I have spoken to Joe Tay. Yesterday I spoke to him. He's very, very rattled. This is not, let's be clear, this is not about an inappropriate or off-color joke. These comments by this Liberal candidate may well rise to the level of criminal because they called for someone to be turned over to a hostile foreign government on a bounty, a government that wants to kill this Canadian citizen. And Mr. Joe Tay is extremely afraid. He's afraid for his life. And I think he is probably rattled by the fact that the Prime Minister of Canada is siding with a Liberal MP who has made these horrific and dangerous comments against a Canadian citizen, against the life of a fellow Canadian citizen. Oui. Monsieur Carney montre encore qu'il n'est pas en mesure de défendre le Canada ou mettre le Canada d'abord. Il dit vouloir garder en place un candidat qui a dit que son adversaire conservateur devrait être remis au gouvernement chinois qui veut le tuer pour des raisons de dissidence politique. Monsieur Carney doit, l'entreprise de M. Carney doit au gouvernement chinois 250 millions de dollars. M. Carney est compromis. Il vend le Canada pour ses intérêts financiers. Et si M. Carney ne veut pas protéger un Canadien contre l'agression et des menaces provenant d'un gouvernement hostile de l'étranger, comment est-ce qu'il va jamais mettre le Canada d'abord pour l'avenir?
We're in
Thank you.
St. John.
Thank
I'm
you.
just wondering if you could
Thank you.
just talk about cost of living.
Thank you. I'll do a very quick one on cost of living. Look, after the lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, an economy that's fallen under the thumb of the Americans, it's time to put Canada first with a new Conservative government that will bring change by axing taxes, building homes, unleashing our resources, building pipelines, so that New Brunswickers and all Canadians can have a powerful paycheck that buys them a beautiful house on a safe street under our proud flag. Thank you.